Kadalasan mga museo o art gallery ang tahanan ng mga obra
And they're making noise within the Southeast Asian region among the Southeast Asian collectors, not just in the auction houses, but even in art.
A talented writer who expresses creativity through poetry. Her work shows how creative literacy helps us share emotions, ideas, and stories using words. Let's all welcome Maria Adriana Bianca M. Velas. In this are the video how we interview her. But before that,
before we proceed to our interview, let's define first what is creative literacy. Creative literacy simply means being able to share your thoughts and ideas in new, interesting, and personal ways. It is not just about knowing how to read or write. It is about using different tools to express yourself effectively. And you can do this through writing, art, media, and digital tools. Since we have already have an idea of what creative literacy is, and now let's continue with our interview.
Good day, Miss Maria Adriana Bianca and Velas. Thank you for lending us your time for having this a very short interview. So, let's start. Since when did you discover your talent in writing poems, and how did your journey begin?
So I started realizing that writing is interesting for me is during my grade school, elementary, because even then I really love reading and I used to mimic the storybooks I've read good sa back pages sa ako ang mga academic books, and then I would tend to write my own version of the story or personal storybook like that. And then I bumped poetry, hindi ko na maalala ng poetry yon, and then may nag-pop up sa ko na, why not try poetry? And then my first poetry was actually written during my 6th grade.
Wow!
Yeah, 6th grade ako. So, yeah, reading interested me and yun din yung nagdala sa akin sa writing.
So, since you mentioned grade 6,
Yes.
so do you think school helped you develop this talent? If yes, how did this strengthen you or your creative literacy skill?
So for me, yes, of course, because even then, even during our kinder pamanta, elementary, and even in high school, palagi nang idinidikdik sa ating mga isipan that these stories has their own lesson and marami tayong natututunan dito. And even now, as a literature major, as a BA Literary and Cultural Studies student, my program and this institution have opened my eyes into both academic and personal perspective. So the theories, the critical lenses that have been introduced to me and have been introduced to us have what they call this opened my eyes and made me like ang interaction ko with the text, with the literary text that na gina-consume ko, mas naging intentional and productive siya. So, kumbaga, now, wala na lang ako basta gabasa for entertainment or whatsoever. I do my appreciation of this literary text and enjoy this literary text in different levels. And the effect of it on me, aside from realizing that, apart from acquiring the skills, like that, is that whatever I've learned from those theories, whatever perspective ang introduce ulit sa akin, natitrigger kasi yung creativity namin as a writer. Hence, madala namin siya sa mga write-ups namin. Ma-apply namin siya. So, yeah.
So, for your third question.
Yeah, sure.
Yes. How does writing poetry help you process and express complex emotions that are difficult to explain in normal conversations?
So yeah, again, you're right with the fact that there are things that you cannot say personally. So literature and poetry can help you with that, because in literature and in writing something, you don't need to be literal. Ambiguity is like very welcome. We can express our thoughts, our emotions by imagery, symbolism, metaphorics, and so on and so forth. And then also we can, you can hide your emotions there in layered form and allow for interpretation sa iba't ibang mga tao. Because when you tell kasi personally your problems or whatever nang nasa mind mo, minsan kasi isang interpretation lang yung malalaman ng tao. Whereas kapag you wrote your experience in literary forms, maraming interpretations ang pwede ma-interpret ng tao. Hence, it's more like, fruitful. Open for fruitful discussion.
Yeah, exactly. So for the last question, how does your ability to visualize and create imagery in poetry help you visualize solutions or understand situations better in real life?
So, whenever I write, may tinatawag ako na proseso. I call this paghihimay. And when we say paghihimay, in writing my poetry, whatever I want to write, kunwari, if I write about a certain social issue, that social issue, I will look at it in different perspective. Yun yung tinuro sa akin ng writing. And madala ko siya whenever mayroong mga problems because makaya ko tingnan ng isang problema or isang situation in different perspective. Hence, I can understand things good. Hindi ko man masasabi na hindi better sa iba, pero I can understand things in different perspective. I can put comments in different perspective. Hindi ako maging stay grounded ako on it kasi I always look at things in different positions like that. And when you look at different perspective kasi it allows you to also synthesize on yourself kung anong mas better na solution to this problem. So,
creative literacy is the ability to read, write, and think in imaginative and meaningful ways. In the curriculum, it is applied by allowing students to express their ideas creatively while learning important literacy skills. Teachers use activities like storytelling, role-playing, drawing, and creative writing to help students better understand lessons. Instead of just answering questions, students are encouraged to create their own stories, share opinions, and think critically. Creative literacy is also integrated across different subjects. For example, in science or araling panlipunan, students may present their ideas through posters, skits, or journal. This helps them understand lessons more deeply while improving their communication skills. It is also promotes critical and creative thinking by asking open-ended questions and allowing multiple answers. Students learn to explore ideas, solve problems, and express themselves confidently. Overall, creative literacy makes learning more engaging, meaningful, and enjoyable. It helps students become not only good readers and writers, but also creative and independent thinkers.